Hello, it's Meds again. Good evening, everyone, and actually, good morning, everyone, because it's already 1:40 here, and I just finished my homework, and then I did my devotion. So I'm gonna be talking about um about the Book of Acts, and I came up with this question, and the question goes, how can we better serve Jesus? And our passage is found in Acts chapter 8, verses 26 to 40. It's about Philip, one of the disciples of Jesus, and the Ethiopian. So, um, this passage really taught me um, how to better serve Jesus, even in the midst of our journey in life, even in the midst of or in times of suffering, times of struggles, times of any season. So I'm gonna read verse 26 to 40. It says, now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, go south to the desert road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. So he started out. On his way, he met an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of all the treasury of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. This man had gone to Jerusalem to worship, and on his way home was sitting in his chariot reading the book of Isaiah the prophet. The Spirit told Philip, go to that chariot and stay near it. And Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. Do you understand what you are reading? Philip asked. How can I, he said, unless someone explains it to me? So he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. The eunuch was reading this passage of scripture. He was led like a sheep to the slaughter, and as a lamb before the shearer is silent, so he did not open his mouth. In his humiliation he was deprived of justice. Who can speak of his descendants? For his life was taken from the earth. The eunuch asked Philip, tell me, please, who is this prophet talking about? Himself or someone else? Then Philip began with that very passage of Scripture and told him the good news about Jesus. As they traveled along the road, they came to some water, and the eunuch said, look, here is water. Why shouldn't I be baptized? And he gave orders to stop the chariot. The, then both Philip and the eunuch went down into the water, and Philip baptized him. When they came out when they came up out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord suddenly took Philip away, and the eunuch could not see him again, but went on his way rejoicing. Philip, however, appeared at Azotus and traveled about, preaching the gospel in all the towns until he reached Caesarea. Caesarea. So, ang ganda po ng passage na to kasi personally sa akin po, I commute from home to my school, and ng point ko to how we can better serve Jesus, and it's through our willingness to serve him, willingness to to share the gospel. Sa ginawa po ni Philip dito, makikita po natin na he was willing to do what the angel of the Lord had told him. And sabi po dito na sabi po ng angel of the Lord, go south to the desert road. I was wondering bakit sa lahat ng pupuntahan, bakit sa desert? Pwede naman po sa city, pwede naman sa ibang lugar or pwede naman sa ibang daan siya pumunta. Bakit po? Bakit pa po sa desert? At ito po yung dahilan kung bakit. So he started out and on his way he met an Ethiopian. May reason po lagi ang Panginoon kung bakit niya po tayo dinadala sa isang lugar. Siguro ito po yung testing ground ni Philip na kung gagawin niya po ba yung sinabi ng Panginoon sa kanya. So, nakakatuwa po kasi makikita po talaga natin na willing po si Philip. For example, in verse 30 sabi, nakita niya po yung eunuch, yung man na nagbabasa ng scripture ni Isaiah the prophet. Sabi po dito, then Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. Notice niyo po yung sinabi sa Bible na Philip ran up. Hindi po sinabing si Philip naglakad pupunta sa chariot. Hindi po sinabing ganun. Pero sinabi po tumakbo po si Philip. And I think that's a good example po na dapat nating tularan na we should be willing to run para po sa pinapagawa ni God sa atin. And then po, tinanong niya po yung sabi niya, naiintindihan niyo po ba yung binabasa niyo? And sometimes para sa atin, yung parang kailangan po tayo yung magsalita kasi hindi po natin nai-encounter yung ibang tao along the way kung hindi po tayo nagsasalita, kung hindi po tayo willing. It takes us to be willing to speak out. Kasi po yun pong ginawa ni Philip dito na kahit hindi niya po kilala yung eunuch, umupo lang po siya sa tabi, narinig po niya nagbabasa yung eunuch ng scripture. Kaya po niya tinanong, hindi naman po ibig sabihin na, pag may narinig kang nagbabasa ng Bible, tatanungin mo siya, kakausapin mo siya. I mean, it's good. Okay lang po yun. Pero, ang point po dito, hindi niya po kilala yung eunuch. He doesn't know this man, but he still talked to him. And para po sa atin, yun po lagi nating tandaan na kailangan po na tayo yung unang mag-approach sa tao to share about Jesus. And yun nga po yung ginawa ni Philip dito. And second point ko po, how can we better serve Jesus? And that's through obedience. I mean, general naman po siguro na obedience is the key to serve God. And it's really true kasi Philip, kung hindi po siguro pumunta si Philip, kung hindi po niya inobey kung ano po sinabi ng Spirit sa kanya, wala pong mangyayaring ganito. At the end po, sinabi po talaga na yung eunuch pagkatapos niya pong malaman yung about kay Jesus, yung eunuch pa po talaga yung nag-approach kay Philip na i-baptize siya. Hindi na po kinailangan ni Philip na tanungin kung gusto niyo pong maging Christian, kung gusto niyo pong maging mabaptize, because Philip obeyed. The eunuch was convinced to be baptized. Kaya po kung tayo po along the way sa buhay natin, it takes willingness and obedience po para ma-serve natin si Jesus better, na sabi ko po sa devotional ko, Jesus calls us to share the gospel. And paano po natin gagawin yun kung wala po tayong willingness? How can we do it if we're not willing and we're not obeying God, if we're not listening to His still small voice. So, ang sabi ko rin po na wherever the Spirit leads you to go, obey Him and be willing to do it. Be willing to listen to Him. Be willing to do what He says. Kasi yun po yung ginawa ni Philip na he listened to the Spirit. He listened to the angel of the Lord, and he obeyed. Hindi lang po niya pinakinggan, pero ginawa niya rin po kung ano yung pinapagawa sa kanya ng Spirit. He did not only listen, but he also did it. He also did what the Spirit led him to do. As a Christian, dapat po talaga natin ma-realize na we have purpose kung bakit po nandito tayo sa mundo. Kung bakit po tayo tinawag ng Diyos, kung bakit po tayo naging Christian, kung bakit po tayo naniniwala kay Jesus. Meron po tayong reason. Gusto ko po yung after ng conversation nila ng eunuch, bigla na lang pong nawala si Philip. I thought of it na gusto niyang maging posible sa mata ng tao yung nangyari sa eunuch, but still believe na totoo yung nangyari. Yun pong for example na masakit po kayo and you knew na God healed you, and sa ibang tao ang hirap pong paniwalaan yun, pero sa sarili mo naniniwala ka na pinagaling ka ng Panginoon. And one thing I learned from it too, na si Philip po, pagkatapos niya pong gawin yung mission niya sa eunuch, dinala siya ni God sa Azotus. Hindi ko po alam kung saan yun, pero hindi po siya nag-stop na mag-preach about kay Jesus. So yun po rin po yun sa atin, na kung tapos na po tayo sa isang mission natin, hindi ibig sabihin po na nagtatapos na din po yung calling natin. Ibig sabihin meron pong achievement na po natin yun. So we're heading to the next level na kung saan man tayo gustong idala ni God. Nakakatawa kasi hindi mention sa Acts na from Acts 1 to 7, hindi pa mention si Philip na gumawa ng ministry. And na-mention lang siya nung Acts 8 na, Acts 8:26. And nagsimula yung ministry niya, nagsimula yung pagpipreach niya nung nag-obey siya, nakausapin yung eunuch. Kung hindi ka niya mapagkakatiwalaan on the little things, how can he trust you with bigger things? So at the last part, nagpipreach na si Philip. Hindi lang siya pang-ordinaryong isang tao lamang, but see her preaching the gospel in all the towns until he reached Caesarea. So parang dahil sa maliit na bagay, because of that little thing he did to the eunuch, God gave him opportunity to preach the gospel not only to one person but to all people. Diba po? So I think that's yun lang po yung gusto kong i-share sa inyo. God has greater things ahead of you along the way of your journey. So, yun lang po. Lagi ko pong sasabihin to na pray, because in prayer and praying, you give God something to do in your life, and that is purpose. Peace out.